and Cheney have endorsed you. What do you think about that?
I'm honored to have their endorsement, and I think that what they both, as leaders who are well respected, are making an important statement that it's okay, and if not important, to put country above party.
In fact, Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris is so honored to be endorsed by Liz Cheney and her war criminal father, Dick, that she campaigned alongside them today in the great state of Wisconsin. Now, the campaign stop took place in Ripon, Wisconsin, which is apparently known as the birthplace of the Republican Party. Ripon is home to a tiny schoolhouse that actually hosted the first meetings that launched the Republican Party back in 1854. Now, Harris is expected to use the joint appearance to address the symbolism of the location, to appeal to independents and Republicans, and praise Cheney for her political courage in essentially standing up to Donald Trump, which ended up getting her ousted as a congresswoman. But it gets worse. The Harris campaign has been quietly courting well-known GOP backers, such as Cheney, looking to attract Republicans disillusioned with former President Donald Trump, especially after his efforts to reverse his 2020 reelection loss. And just as a reminder, there are plenty of Republicans, both neocons and former Trump administration officials, who have endorsed Kamala Harris. That includes Jeff Flake, Adam Kinzinger, former Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan, former Trump White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson. In fact, she's been making the rounds, doing interviews about it recently. Let's take a quick look at what she had to say.
I didn't believe in every single one of his policies. I knew that he had a temper, but I believe that he was authentic in his care for the American people. The shift between believing that wholeheartedly and seeing how quickly he devolved into madness and complete chaos to assuage his injured pride, how willing he was to throw people under the bus and completely throw away any principles that he had in pursuit of power. That's not what leadership is. So I think looking at all of this, out of all the lessons that this has taught me, it's taught me that we are stronger when we are united, that we are stronger when we're not looking at our nation as an us versus them mindset, as Donald Trump likes to propagate. He does that because he thrives on fear, and he needs the fear and control in order to keep people in his realm and supporting him. But a divided nation cannot stand.
I'm a fan of unity. There are limits to everything, though, and I'm not sure how comfortable I am uniting, Democrats uniting, with the likes of neocons like Liz Cheney and her aptly named father, Dick. Look, I'm concerned about the influence this has on the Democratic Party. I became involved and engaged in politics, right before the 2003 preemptive strike on Iraq. And these are the types of people who supported and were cheerleaders for that war, which was absolutely devastating and didn't accomplish much, okay, or anything. And so I don't know what to say, Jay, because it's like my worst nightmare. Like the Democratic Party becoming like the Bush era Republican Party, and then you have the Trump Party. So who do we support?
Yeah, look, I'm conflicted in this sense. I'm not conflicted in this election. That to me, it's obvious. Trump's a madman, wanted to terminate the Constitution, attacked America. It's not close. Having said that, until January 6th, where he did all of the worst things, he was a terrible president and a terrible human being. But George Bush and Dick Cheney were clearly worse. So now Nicole Walsh is the communications director for George Bush. She's one of the lead anchors on MSNBC. Now Liz and Dick Cheney are on the Democratic side. Today on CNN, they were yelling at John Bolton and asking him, why didn't you endorse Kamala Harris? I don't want John Bolton in our party. Are you crazy?
Please don't.
Please don't. Thank God he's not endorsing her. I don't want his vote. I don't want anything to do with John Bolton. So these neocons are the worst people on earth. Dick Cheney got hundreds of thousands of innocent people killed in Iraq, let alone our troops, let alone all of our money wasted. He's one of the most unpopular politicians of our lifetimes. So I feel like that Penzi employee in that video we showed you, where Kamala Harris was in the shop and they asked at the beginning of this segment, and she's like, I'm proud to have Dick Cheney's endorsement. And the employee's like, oh, I might be reading too much into her eye, her body language and her, but it looked like an eye roll, like she seemed uncomfortable. Yeah. And I'm super uncomfortable having these monsters, not only on the Democratic side, but for our candidates to be so proud of it and to be campaigning with them.
I think there's a good possibility that if Kamala Harris gets elected, she mentioned multiple times now that she plans on appointing a Republican into her cabinet. I think it's probably going to be Liz Cheney.
No. Look, I'll tell you this much right now. So first of all, are there Republicans you could put in your cabinet? Yeah, a bunch of Republicans proved to be patriots, like Jeff Duncan in Georgia, when we might disagree with him on social issues and many other issues, right? He's one of the guys who spoke at the DNC, but he drew the line on cheating for Trump and overthrowing our democracy. And that's brave, and I appreciate that. You want to make him Secretary of Transportation or something, I can live with it, okay? But you make Liz Cheney, for example, Secretary of Defense,
oh my God,
and I start the revolution immediately, okay?
What does that mean?
All it means is every populist there is on the left and the right, let's unite against the Harris-Cheney administration, okay? So I'm planning that before the election. So if you tell me Liz Cheney is going to start wars for us, you're telling me that you're George Bush, and I got no interest in George Bush. Now, she hasn't done any of that yet, and Trump is worse at this point because he literally tried to end the whole goddamn country, okay? And I love America, and I don't want to end our democracy. I don't want to terminate our Constitution. So it's still an easy choice for me now. But you make Liz Cheney an important part of your administration. You're declaring I'm a Republican and the worst kind of Republican. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.